Hi, all you sake lovers out there. You know, seasonal foods are a really big thing in Japan. I mean, if you go to like a supermarket or a convenience store, you see all different snacks and drinks depending on the time of the year. And the sake world is no different. And one area of sake that I've seen get a lot of attention in recent years is summer sake. But what's special about summer sake and what does it go well with? Well, I'm here with Andrew tonight.
Hello.
And we're going to try to answer those questions as I try to switch him on to natsuzake. So, looking at these bottles, how do you think you would tell, how would you find summer sake in a store?
My guess would be the color of the bottle.
Yeah, what color?
Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so blue is like the signal color for summer sake.
Okay.
I mean, you will find blue bottles that aren't summer sake.
Okay.
Typically, they might be a darker blue or something like that, but this kind of sky blue and the sky blue label, sometimes labels with like fireworks on them, or like a summer scene or something like that are something that you might see.
Okay.
So it's when you go to a liquor store, it can be easy to find it by the color and the kinds of designs that are on the label.
Oh.
Also, so what do you think a summer sake might taste like?
My guess would probably be more maybe citrusy.
Okay.
Or kind of refreshing.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's a big thing. That's right. So summer sake tends to be a little bit crisper.
Okay.
And maybe a higher acidity sometimes. Another thing that they do often is lower alcohol.
Oh.
Because, you know, people don't like to drink necessarily very heavy alcoholic drinks in the summer. Or they're drinking on a hot day when it the alcohol hits you harder or something like that.
Definitely.
And then there might be just also a lighter alcohol, also a lighter flavor profile.
Okay.
But then sometimes they go in the opposite direction, and it might be a kind of richer flavor profile and even a higher alcohol percentage, like sometimes 17, 18, 19%.
Oh, wow.
Because it's meant to be drunk on the rocks.
Oh.
So we're going to try a couple of different varieties of summer sake. We'll have like a variety of each kind of type of those that I talked about.
Great.
And we're just going to talk about like what it smells like, what it tastes like, try it with some different dishes that Maruhi has prepared for us. And then at the end, you get to take home the one you like best.
Oh, okay. Good for me.
Sound like a deal?
I love it.
All right, let's get started.
Awesome.
All right, so our first sake tonight is a junmaiginjo natsu usunigori. So usunigori means that it's lightly cloudy.
Okay.
So you can see in there. And this is a namazake, so it's unpasteurized. And it's also, did I say it's a junmaiginjo? It's also 14% alcohol by volume. So it's a little bit lower. Because sake tends to be like 15, 16% normally. And there's also, and look, it's kind of a really cool label.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah. The brewery is, Sanyo Hai Brewery, and the brand is called Banshu Ikkon. And Banshu, so it's in Hyogo Prefecture. And Banshu is the old name for Hyogo Prefecture.
Oh, very cool.
And this scene is like the scene of the river near the brewery that a local artist made. So I just thought it was cool for the label.
Yeah.
But also, it's got a little warning on it, which you sometimes find with the yeast in here is still active. So it's undergoing a second fermentation in the bottle, so it's going to be a little bit sparkling.
Okay.
And sometimes that can mean it will, if you aren't careful when you're opening it, it will turn into a fountain. And sometimes it's a little bit anticlimactic. So we don't know what's going to happen here. So I'm going to let you open it.
Oh, great.
So what I'd like you to do is just kind of open it little by little and see how it responds, like how the bubbles come out. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a little. Oh yeah.
Yeah, here it comes.
Wow, that's way more than I expected.
Oh. Yeah, so if it gets up to the top, just like close it again.
I haven't touched it.
So what's kind of cool when it has an active effervescence like this is that it will actually mix the lees for you in there, so you don't have to and you shouldn't invert it until you open it first to see how effervescent it really is. Oh, that wasn't too bad. I mean, I've had some that literally it takes 15 minutes to open.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say if I opened it a little bit faster, I think we would have had it melted.
Okay, all right. Well, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Now there's still a little bit of lees left on the bottom, so I'm gonna just invert it lightly. And actually, inverting sake of all types is really something that is good to get in the habit of doing, because solids can settle on the bottom, and just heavier elements of the flavor can settle on the bottom as well. So it's always good to kind of mix it before you pour
I
it.
didn't know that.
I found that out a couple times when I've had things that were kind of light, and then I got to the bottom and I was like, oh, this is actually really flavorful. So
You're missing all the flavor at the
Yeah.
beginning.
So just be really careful when you do invert this kind.
Oh yeah, see there's.
And also you don't want to lose all the carbonation as well. And also with these unpasteurized usunigori, it's really important to keep it well chilled when you store it, because the yeast is still, like I said, still active in it, and the flavor can really change if you don't.
Can it be dangerous if you don't?
It's not dangerous as far as health, it's just the yeast is still active,
Okay.
and so it will continue to change.
Yeah.
And sometimes some namazake you can actually store warm and it will change in a good way, and sometimes it won't, so it's just kind of a crapshoot. So.
Okay.
Okay, we're just going to taste a little bit at first. So take a whiff of that and tell me what you smell. You could swirl it around a little bit too.
Okay. I don't know. It smells citrusy to me, but I don't want to say that just because it's a summer sake.
No, I do get, it's like, I get, sometimes with this I get kind of like lemon custard.
Lemon custard.
Yeah, it's like a citrus plus a dairy element, like a yogurt or like a pudding kind of.
Interesting. Do you feel that way with this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I get the citrus and I get kind of like a yogurty kind of dairy kind of.
Okay.
Also a little bit of like vanilla, like a vanilla wafer, like a vanilla cookie.
I can definitely see that. Yeah.
Okay, let's try it.
Sure. Oh wow. It has. I don't know if this is normal, but it has kind of like a smoky flavor. I can't really explain it. Like it's quite smooth, but it has kind of a very round flavor to me.
That could be because of the lees in it. Give it that kind of like fullness of flavor. Excuse me. Fullness of flavor like that. Yeah, it's not what I expected actually. I thought it was going to be sweeter.
Me too, and I thought it was gonna taste more acidic, but it doesn't so much for me.
Yeah, it's really like it's got that kind of like body to it, but it's also really light.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Interesting.
I quite like that actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's try our next one.
Sure.
Okay, so our second one is another namazake from Chiyotsuru. It means like 1,000 cranes.
Oh.
And this is actually from Nakamura Brewery in Akiruno in Tokyo. And it's labeled as a tokubetsujunmai, but it's actually the rice is polished 50%. So that actually makes it like a daiginjo. If the rice is polished to 50%, then it's a daiginjo level. But if it's not like the daiginjo process and things like that, then they can't actually call it that. So they just call it like a tokubetsu, just like a special junmai sake. So let's taste this. And this is still not very high. This is between 15 and 16%. Can you get the wine glasses? And this is one that I said, you can see they've got the like fireworks on it.
Very summery. Oh, and I see the cranes as well.
Yeah. Apparently, like now there aren't you wouldn't see cranes in that area, but it's got the Aki River is there. It's a really beautiful place.
Okay.
And apparently there were lots of cranes there in the past, so that's what the name is from.
I see. Mm. It's kind of an oaky smell to me.
It does have a little bit of like smokiness or something, or woodiness.
I was gonna say, yeah, either like wood or nutty. A bit nutty. Definitely something very, like kind of an earthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or a little bit herbaceous, I think.
Oh, could be, yeah.
I also get a little bit of like Asian pear, nashi.
Yes.
Like it's not super fruity, but it's like more like kind of that kind of, not like a raw fruit, but like kind of a watery, crisp kind of fruit.
Yeah, like the kind of not so like citrusy fruit. Yeah, I think the pear is the best way to describe that.
Okay, let's try this one.
Sure.
That is also not what I expected.
That was closer to
what
I
you
think the
expected?
smell than the last one was. I think like the pear is still kind of the biggest thing on my mind. I think that's the best match.
It's also super light. Like there's very little aftertaste with it.
Yeah.
I feel like it just kind of runs down the middle of my tongue and into my throat.
Yeah, almost. It's almost kind of watery.
It doesn't have a lot of like big, like umami, like big body
No.
or anything like that.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, very easy drinking, I think. I don't know, this last drink that I had of it, there was like a moment, it was almost kind of a chocolatey flavor as well.
I do get that, like a little bit of milk chocolate.
Yes,
Not
yeah.
like a bitter chocolate.
Yeah. Very, like a sweeter chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's try our next one. Okay, our third sake is from Iwate, and this brewery is called Tsukinowa. It's the name of the brand and also the name of the brewery.
Okay.
And this is a umakara junmai. So umakara means like rich and dry. And then so junmai, it's just a little bit, the rice is a little bit less polished than the ones that we had before. So I'm expecting it to have a little bit more body and a little bit more maybe ricey flavor or aroma to it.
Okay.
We will see. And the interesting thing about this brewery is that the brewer is a woman.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so it's more common these days, getting more common. But still, you know, the vast majority of brewers are men.
Sure.
So. Sorry, can you lift it?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Sorry, can you lift mine as well?
Yeah,
It's just
sure.
hard to pour when it's...
To do both.
Thank you. Okay. It's harder to get aromas.
I was gonna say I'm having a hard time smelling.
Yeah, it's harder to get aromas out of this kind of glass. So
sure.
don't, like, I'm having a hard time as well.
I was gonna ask, is there a reason why we have these glasses for this one?
I chose these kind of glasses for this one because I expected that it would be less aromatic, and also when it's like an umami-rich type, I find a wider mouthed glass tends to like let the flavor come out a little bit better.
Okay.
If it's a smaller opening like that, it tends to concentrate like kind of like doesn't let it like flow and open over your tongue.
Okay. I understand what you mean. Yeah.
So I'm not getting much.
I really can't smell much. Yeah.
Like I'm literally sticking my nose into it. Like, so it's a very restrained aroma, I think we can say. Let's give it a taste. I think you can taste the difference between the one we just had.
Definitely. Yeah. I think, like what you mentioned before about the rice flavor, I can kind of smell that a bit. The aftertaste has kind of, I can't quite place what it is, but it's almost like not fruit, but maybe dried fruit.
Okay.
Kind of like a dried apricot or a dry maybe fig.
I get that. Yeah. It's also quite spicy in the end, I feel. Like the finish is a little bit stronger and like spicier than the other ones were. Like the second one we had was just like it just went down.
Yeah.
And this one has a little bit of punch before it goes down.
I think compared to these other two, it's spicier, but I think overall it's not so spicy. Like there's definitely it could definitely be spicier.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's also just richer. Like it kind of coats your tongue.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Like it's kind of all around.
Yeah. So that's the umami coming out in it.
Okay.
Okay. I guess I've been kind of surprised by all of these.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think like what we can see with the summer sake is that all around it's just a lot more restrained and not as punchy with the flavors.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Do people normally drink summer sake outdoors or indoors, do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, a lot of it is nama, so it's unpasteurized, so it's hard to keep it cool like outside.
Sure.
I think it's just the things that you would typically eat it with would be chilled foods and things like that, so you don't want something that kind of like really overtakes that in your mouth. So I think that's what they're kind of going for.
I see. Sure.
All right, let's try our last one. And our last sake tonight is called Mujinzo. And the name means inexhaustible storehouse.
Okay.
And this is from a brewery called Kitsukura Brewery in Nagano. And it's a junmaiginjo, but it's also a chokarakuchi. So it's an extremely dry sake. So on the sake meter scale, they have like a scale of the dryness. And plus values are more dry and minus values are more sweet. Like things that you would normally eat with a meal are around like around the zero.
Okay.
The things that we've had tonight have all been kind of maybe +2, +3, something like that. but this is plus 10 to plus 12.
Wow.
So it's quite a bit
Yeah,
drier.
big difference.
Also, the alcohol percentage is 17%. So it's recommended to drink it on the rocks. So that's how we're going to try it tonight. You have a lot of rocks in that glass, but we can kind of like just keep it. You have to kind of drink it around the ice in there. It's going to be hard to get any kind of aroma out of this with it on the rocks, but
Yeah.
yeah, I can't really get anything.
Neither.
Okay, let's try it.
It's very in the front of my mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. It kind of like sits on the little dip of your tongue
Yeah.
on the front, and then kind of disappears. in the
Yeah,
back.
it kind of it's weird because you swallow it, but you can't feel it anymore.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Whereas the one that we had before had more of kind of an aftertaste
Yeah.
to it, and like I said, I get that like kind of spicy stuff left.
Yeah.
And this has almost nothing. Left
I
in
completely
the
agree.
back. I was actually expecting it to have a little bit of a harsher finish.
I was too, especially with the higher alcohol
Yeah,
content and the
and
dryness.
being so dry.
Yeah. I kind of have like a banana taste a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, I get that. It's quite good. It's very easy drinking. Like something that you could drink too much of without realizing
Very
that you're
easily.
drinking it.
Which is so dangerous with the 17%.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very refreshing as well. I'm sure the rocks helps with
Yeah.
that. But I mean, I think like because it's not as strong too, like kind of helps keep the mouth fresh. You know?
So let's see what these different kinds of summer sake taste like with a few different dishes. Our first dish is a seasonal ceviche made with squid and seasonal vegetables like bell peppers and cucumbers, and it looks like it has a little bit of dill on the top. Actually, I was wrong. It has scallops and looks like shrimp and also octopus in it as well. Okay, so with our ceviche, which did you think went well with it?
I personally thought the second one
Okay.
went best.
Can you grab it's that?
This one here?
Yeah. And why did you like the second one with it?
I don't know. I felt like with all of the components of the ceviche, it just played really well. It didn't overpower the flavor, and it kind of just kept like the freshness of it all together.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I would agree. I think this was my initial choice, but then I actually went with the third one. I think because I felt like the third one brought out the umami of this, blended with the umami of the seafood.
I was gonna say the same exact thing,
Right?
actually. Yeah.
And so I just felt it actually like this. What I want to say, like went well with the flavors.
Yes.
And this like actually brought out more of the flavor.
Yeah.
I think.
I totally agree.
So I think it's just, as always, just a preference.
Yeah. I think the biggest reason I chose this one originally was because there are things like cucumbers and bell peppers, and I think this kind of played well with everything.
I would agree.
But this was really good with the seafood.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Let's try our second dish. Okay, so our second dish is a really simple caprese salad. So it's got mozzarella cheese, and this is with water buffalo mozzarella, so the most expensive mozzarella you can buy, and basil and tomatoes and olive oil. So a really simple dish that anybody can make at home, a really good thing for the summer. So which one do you think went best with the caprese?
I thought the first one went best.
Me
You think so
too. Why?
It was something about the basil and this together.
Oh,
was
okay.
just such a like so complimentary. It just went so well for me.
For me, it was the cheese in that.
Really?
Because the creamy texture of the cheese was really lightened by the effervescence
Okay.
of it, and I think it also melded with the kind of creamy texture of the lees
Yeah.
in there.
And you mentioned before about like the the custard, right? So I can understand how that connects.
Yeah, like the kind of dairy matches with the dairy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our third dish tonight is a pasta made with umeboshi, so pickled plum and chicken loin and green onions. All right, Andrew, so what was your favorite one with this?
With the pasta, I particularly like the third one.
Okay, can you grab the bottle?
Yeah, but
Yeah, and then, yeah. And what was your reason?
I think before I had said this one is kind of like an earthy or maybe more like oaky taste. And I felt that paired really well with the actual pasta and the green onions.
Okay. Yeah, so I think because it's like a junmai and has a little bit more of a grainy flavor, yeah, I think that the graininess is what's kind of matching there.
Okay.
I think it was okay for me, but I really liked the last one. And the reason why I think is because it was actually pretty oily. There was a lot of olive oil in it. And so I really felt that this kind of just like cleaned the palate of the oiliness of it. And it didn't fight with the flavors of the umeboshi, which I think for me was like a big thing. So I had a little bit more umeboshi on mine.
Yeah, I didn't add any extra to mine, so.
But it's a really interesting recipe, something that would be really interesting to try at home.
Yeah,
I think.
This was probably my second choice
Okay.
between those two.
So our dessert for tonight is a granita with watermelon and mint. So which one did you think went best with this?
I think for this, it was probably the first one we tried.
Okay,
The-
can you grab that one?
yeah, the kind of cloudy one.
Yeah. And
Um,
any reason?
I thought the sweetness kind of matched best with this one. I felt with the other ones, it was kind of fighting a little bit, so this one was kind of on the same level.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I would agree. This was my second choice. My first choice was actually the last one, which was your guess.
Yeah.
That was actually the whole reason why I had him make this was because of this.
Really?
Because I felt like drinking it on the rocks and then it would be good with it. I actually, at the end, just poured it in there and it's actually really good.
I might try that next, just to see. Because you seem to be pretty confident in it.
It's really, really, really good. I'm not sure if it would work with like an ice cream or something like that. I think it would be too dry for that. But I think the iciness of it is just like, it's like on the rocks with a little bit of fruit flavor. And the mint really works well with it, I think. Like the mintiness and this really work well together. So remember, like, pairing is all your preference, and people have different preferences, and people taste different things. So, whatever you think is totally correct.
Great.
And whatever I think is correct as well.
I love being correct.
But did you have, out of these four, sorry, can you grab the... Did you have a favorite that you want to take home tonight?
Oh, that's tough. I think this was a close second.
Okay.
But I think the first one we tried ended up honestly being my favorite.
Okay. Yeah, this is like really easy drinking, like really easy to like, I think, like from the beginning.
Yeah, I think at the beginning, even though it was the first one we tried, I knew that this may be the one that I take home.
Okay.
Because it just was so enjoyable to drink and yeah, really smooth.
Okay. Well, experiment trying it with various things.
Yeah, I would love to.
All right. So I hope that we've answered some of your questions about summer sake with the different things that we've paired it with here. And as always, just go out and try some different things, see what's available in your area. Look for the blue bottle if you're interested in summer sake, and keep exploring sake.